When I was in Europe, I saw how robust their offshore wind industry was, and at the time here in the United States, no one was focusing on offshore wind, and we decided that that gap really needed to be filled. So I brought all those lessons that I learned back here and created the business network. The Business Network for Offshore Wind was created in 2013, and it was a small group of Maryland companies, about 20, that came and sat around a table and decided that they wanted an entity to help them grow and help facilitate an offshore wind market.
I had been involved in the Obama administration's setup for offshore wind. We saw the possibilities for this new industry and set up a number of deconflicted areas off the East Coast that we thought would be a good start for the offshore wind industry. And the Business Network actually was born right at that time.
The whole idea was to collate the U.S. supply chain with the existing developers and companies from Europe that were already building offshore wind farms in Europe.
People realized that this was not just another organization. This was an organization that cared about them, that was invested in their success.
It really is a member-driven organization. And that's critical, especially at this early stage of offshore wind.
It's a big benefit for people and companies that want to get into the sector that there's a structured portal to make sure that you get the right connections from the get-go and you get a broad exposure to what this industry is all about.
There was a lot of naysayers, like you can't build offshore wind farms here, it can't be done. And it was so important because we had the big developers come here in the US and show them that we did it in Europe, we've been doing it for the last 20 plus years, and I don't think the industry would have been so successful if it wasn't for the Business Network.
Being a part of a network of both large and small companies allows us to have meetings with large companies, and instead of being a faceless entity, we actually meet the people that comprise these companies, and from those people we can start building relationships.
This industry can revitalize local communities, build up manufacturing. We can create an industry that looks like America, is diverse, and at the same time, we can solve a climate change problem.
We still have a long way to go, but without the Business Network for Offshore Wind, the industry would not be where it's currently at today.
The barriers to success are everywhere. So I think they will be very busy in the next months and years to continue to support the effort.
I grew up in Pennsylvania where there was a heavy focus in manufacturing, and once those jobs left, a lot of the towns I lived next to kind of went away. I see the opposite happening. I think we're going to see communities become vibrant again.
In the next 10 years, we're going to drive around and see nacelle factories or blade factories.
It's not a lot of networks or associations like this globally that had a laser focus on making sure that we not only develop the projects, but also the supply chain. I think the network has played quite a big role in establishing what soon will be a very big U.S. industry.
If you want to get involved in this industry, the network is the best place to get your information from because it's such a well-rounded organization that anything you would like to know, you're able to gain. Is the catalyst for the American offshore wind industry. Period.
The network is that crucible that we can all, climb into and feel comfortable that we are, all pulling in the right direction.
The network is always looking forward and always looking out over the horizon. And we really want to be that organization that does help that next generation move forward into the offshore wind industry.